So today is November 3rd, which is election day, and I am having a lot of anxiety. Like, I was talking to a friend earlier about how we are so lucky to live in a country of freedom, and there's so many other countries in the world who don't have any choice about who runs their country. And we do have that choice, and we electively choose this choice. It would just be such a horrifying disappointment should it happen again. We as a consciousness, and I'm sure most of the people watching this video are feeling really wild right now. So anyway, we're kind of at a point with the bus where we are waiting for a few items and we can't really move forward without those items. So I thought it would be a great opportunity on election day to rid some inner anxiety and just sit down in the bus, which is my new home, and beat this mug. In my last video, I requested that you guys ask us some questions for this, so let's just jump right into it. The first thing I'm using is Got to Be Glued spiking gel. I'm just getting my brows completely saturated in gel, and then I'm going to brush them up and outward. And this is giving me lots of height. I'm really desperately trying to move past using glue on my brows. I just love the idea of being a natural eyebrow drag queen one day, so we're working on it. Maybe I'll actually zoom you in a little bit. Is that better? So the first question I've been getting asked the most is, am I quitting drag? I'm sitting in the bus doing drag today to tell you guys, no, I'm not quitting doing drag. I am, however, just evolving my drag. This whole year as a creative person has been really trying because, you know, how can you create fun and entertaining art while there's so much despair and horror going on? So I've just taken the whole year to think about how the hell I can incorporate my passion in a way that is really useful and beneficial to the world and doesn't feel so selfish. I'm trying to think less about the character Pearl and more about drag as an extension of my being. When you ask a drag queen, you know, like, what's your inspiration behind your drag, or tell me about who your drag character is. I'm an intergalactic space queen who crash landed. I married the Princess Zimbabwe. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like moving on from that aspect of drag, where drag is like this full-fledged character that you paint on, and moving on in a direction where drag is an extension of myself. My next question is, how am I going to fit all of my drag into this bus? I'm going to be downsizing and turning my wardrobe into much more collapsible, flowy, drapey, lightweight things that can basically fit into a sandwich bag. I don't need like 50 wigs like I have right now. I just need like 3 or 4 amazing wigs that I can restyle over and over and just wear as like my hair. Now I'm prepping my skin with CoverGirl True Blend Base Business. This is the pore minimizing one. So I'm going to start with Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. This is Natural Beige. And I'm just going to put this all over my face. This is Drew Barrymore's line, We Are Best Friends. I don't know if you guys knew that. Me and Drew Barrymore have a very close relationship. She once reposted my transformation of her, so therefore we are best friends. Next question is, how long have you been thinking about starting the bus? I guess you could say I've had this rolling drag glamping fantasy for about 5 years now, living minimally, and tiny house videos and van life videos on YouTube. I've been completely like obsessed for years now. Jeremy's always wanted to do something like this as well. When you're sitting during a quarantine and you have this audience, you know, there's an incentive to do something transformative and inspiring. So having you guys has been really helpful. This question is, what's the most enjoyable part of the project and how much do you plan on using the bus? I've really been having the most fun just putting together this whole series. It's been something that's been in my head for so long, so it's just crazy to actually be doing it now. And as far as how much we'll be using the bus, we will be living in this bus full time. So this is not like some weird project. This is us renovating our house. Next question is, how did me and Jeremy meet? And if I have any advice on navigating drag and relationships. Jeremy and I met in Hawaii. I was on a work trip and he had been living there for about 4 years. He slid into my DMs. He saw my poster at the bar I was working at in Honolulu and offered his services. He is a massage therapist and Reiki healer, and a bitch never turns down a free service like that. So he came to my hotel. It was very professional. The next day we were just kind of chatting a little bit through text, and we decided to go hiking. And after hiking, we had dinner, and then the next day we hung out all day again. It was just a really amazing, natural progression of meeting and falling for somebody. We took the first few days of knowing each other to experience nature in a beautiful place and really get to know each other and talk and become really good friends. As far as dating advice regarding drag goes, if drag is something that like you just love so much, you should probably find somebody who is going to appreciate it as much as you do, or find another drag queen to date. As long as you don't eat, breathe, and shit your profession, you're gonna be pretty good to go. You have to find a happy balance and be happy with yourself before you can be in a relationship. The only dating advice I can give you is that it doesn't even have anything to do with drag. You're never gonna be happy in a relationship if you're not happy with yourself. If you can't be alone with yourself, then why is anybody gonna wanna be alone with you? You just have to make sure that our foundation is strong before we try building a foundation with somebody else. Okay, next question is, who is the first queen I will have over to see the bus? And I'll tell you that Willem came over and we filmed a cute little thing for her channel a couple weeks ago. So I guess Willem. Most challenging part of the journey. Most challenging part of the journey so far has been pulling the trigger, I'd say. You know, laying in bed at night and calculating all the costs and knowing that you're gonna have to apply for a bunch of credit cards and then applying for those credit cards and then laying in bed again at night and actually purchasing thousands of dollars is just like really crazy. Like that's like all the mental part, I guess, of it has been the most challenging part of it. You don't even know if you're doing the right thing or buying the right stuff. It's all just kind of a gamble. I've watched a million YouTube videos, but that doesn't really actually help at the end of the day, because when you've watched a million things, you don't know what to get. Next question is, do you have any insulation in the van? How do you plan on keeping warm in the cold weather? We don't plan on spending too much time in cold weather. We will just kind of chase nice weather. But for chilly nights, we did buy a wood-burning stove that will be hanging right here, which we're really excited about. So we'll just collect firewood and throw little baby logs in our wood-burning stove, and that should keep the place warm enough. I will say the temperature dropped last week. It got down to about 40 degrees, and we were in here working, and the windows were open. We had a couple of layers on, and it was actually perfectly comfortable even in like 42, 43 degree weather. So I don't think that it's really going to be that big of an issue. Cut to us being found with hypothermia, dead on our first night. Pearl, when is your next big creative project going to be? You're fucking looking at it. What has Roxanne been up to? Roxanne has been traveling, obviously. I was saying earlier, this year has really just been such a mind fuck for all of us. I have barely been able to get into drag or think creatively about anything, much less put a comedic spin on it. I'm just having a hard time seeing the humor in things. Next question is, what are you doing with your current property? And and hopefully we can find some monthly renters to sublease it. We don't own it, we're just renting. It's an amazing house. The rent is so cheap. It's the cheapest rent we've ever paid in our entire adult lives. And we really don't want to give it up. The goal is to really love traveling so much that we never want to come back here, but we just love this house so much that we can't see ourselves giving it away, even though we don't want to live in it. I don't know, it's weird. Next question is, will you ever have an uploading schedule? For the last 5 Saturdays, we've uploaded at noon Pacific time. So that is the schedule that we're going to try to keep. It's just once a week, Saturdays at noon. Next question is, have you both agreed on interior design decisions, and have there been any big disagreements? Honestly, not really. Thankfully for me, Jeremy is really passive with all that kind of stuff. I'm the one that has the interior design bug. Jeremy just kind of like loves it all. So he's like, yeah, everything I show him, he's like, yes, order it right now. I love it. And I'm like, well, I have other things to show you too. What is the feeling of building everything yourselves? It's really feels like an amazing sense of accomplishment, and it's also really terrifying because we're not professionals and we're just kind of relying on YouTube to give us a general idea, and then we're making it work for our specific space. This looks disgusting. Next question is, what is your plan for the outside color? And nothing crazy. We're just gonna paint it black. Has the project been harder or easier than expected? And it's been easier. Did you take inspiration from someone to build everything, or are you improvising? So many van lifers and bus lifers overcomplicate everything, and that was basically the biggest inspiration behind this. Is we want to make something that's simple, where if like a light goes out, we know how to fix it very easily. People are talking about pipes freezing and water pumps breaking and floods and all this crazy stuff, and we're like, hell no. Next question is, what's my favorite thing about the bus? It's like my big F you to society and telling me that I'm supposed to work this weird job to live in this big house. It's just so not my plan. So that's probably my favorite thing about it. Would you ever have kids? Hell no. Where do you plan to travel first when you're finished? So we're gonna take a trip up the West Coast to Oregon, Washington, and if we can get into Canada at that point, I would love to go to Vancouver and do that whole thing and then come back. And we'll use that first trip as a barometer to figure out what's lacking in the bus, if we want to change anything, and then do any other alterations that we want to do, and then go out on like our permanent stay out abroad. Are y'all going off grid? Yes, this will be a traveling off-grid mobile home. Next question is, when is Jeremy going to do a healing session? How does he plan on adapting his Reiki business? Best person to explain that for you would be Jeremy, so one moment please.
When are you going to do a healing session, and how do you plan on adapting your Reiki business?
Well, healing modalities like Reiki, Yoga Nidra, Pranayama, breathwork, and guided meditation have always been a huge part of my practice, and fortunately all of those things can be done in a distant format. So for the last 6 months, I've had my clients engaged in a variety of series that are suited to their needs at the time, and I plan to continue doing that in expanded versions, and also pouring a lot more content into my YouTube page, Graceology Wellness. I'll be doing a Yoga Nidra there.
We'll link
soon.
that below.
Yeah, I'll be doing a Yoga Nidra session, many of them soon.
Has Jeremy ever been in drag before? Would be quite fun to see how he acts as wilderness fish. Jeremy's never been in drag. I keep jokingly saying I'm gonna shave his beard and put him in drag. I've never seen him without a beard, so that would be interesting. Very interesting. But we can always do like a bearded drag moment.
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
fun, right?
Yeah.
That's a perfect wilderness fish.
Aquaman, forest fish.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had fun Halloween makeup moments. That's it.
You have like what?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like a David Bowie.
Oh, you did a
like
David Bowie.
Yeah, with the star.
How do you plan your designs? Every move you make will affect something else in the bus. So it kind of like designs itself after a while, right?
Right. It is a chain effect that happens.
Yeah, a chain
Right.
effect.
Yeah, one thing affects the next, and then it just kind of unfolds, really, is how this whole space happened.
We just bought a couple of key pieces
Mm-hmm.
and then worked around those. Like the fridge in the kitchen, we worked around that. The couch in the living room, we worked around that. As far as decor goes, we're not really going to have too much things to decorate, you know? It's going to be very minimal. That's why we're relying mostly on surface and materials and textures and stuff. But it'll mostly just be plants and crystals.
Yeah. Plants, crystals, and lighting.
Mirrors, yeah.
Features. There'll be a couple things to put away while we're traveling that'll stage when we land somewhere. But
are you going to travel and do drag gigs in the van? If we get a vaccine and the world goes back to some semblance of normalcy and clubs open back up, absolutely, that would be so cool to take the van to different destinations and be able to perform and make some money along the way. Hell yeah.
So,
what tool tips have you learned along the way?
use the right drill bits.
Just basically get the right screws and drill bits and you're great.
Right. Also, scale saw is the superior circular saw.
When it comes to buying all of your tools, invest the $10 more and just get like the slightly upgraded one. It will just overall be better. And when you're buying screws, don't get all-purpose screws. Get screws that are like specific to your project. Oh, and when you're buying stuff like tiles or wood, always account for 10% more than the project calls for.
Right.
How do you feel about downsizing a wardrobe? I think any opportunity to purge and get rid of old stuff is like the best thing ever. I do it all the time.
Yeah, we just did it. We just did a first, like, all right, we're moving into a bus. Let's do a round one elimination kind of thing. Yeah. And it did. It felt great. And you just start to think about how little you really need.
I feel like a man. When do you expect the project to be done? Pretty much just depends on how much the winter and the snow slows us down.
Yeah.
But if everything goes according to plan, we'd like it to be done by January, February. What do you expect to be the biggest challenges moving into a tiny home on wheels? Feeling like maybe we're not as alone out there as I thought we would be, you know, because there is such a like big movement right now.
I see what you mean, babe. Yeah. It's going to be finding places that are accessible, remote.
100% free, because I don't want to pay $1 for like parking anywhere. You don't ever think about that kind of stuff. He never thinks about like the bad or the negative or like what if like this happens or what if that happens. He never ever thinks like that. It's so annoying because I just look like the psycho all the time because I like over plan and overthink and everything.
No, I have precautionary thoughts and concerns.
So, like, what are they?
Well, like, I agree.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna really rely on him to do a lot of the talking because, you know, I'm not good with people. Next question is, how do you know how to build all these things? I don't know how to build anything, so I'm really letting Jeremy take the lead.
I've never taken up carpentry as an adult, but I did grow up in my grandfather's workshop and just absorbed a lot of that.
It's like building a popsicle stick house, but large scale. If everything like turns to pieces at our first speed bump, we'll have to just let you know. You know what I mean? Right. What is the thing you value most about your relationship? I'll let you go first.
Everything. It's hard to say most, really most. We connected instantly and kind of magically and had a lot of the same visions for our life. So our synchronicity, we really flow together and have a lot of fun doing what we're doing, which could be a hell of a lot of work, grueling. I mean, you know, just depending on someone's perspective.
For me, I would just say like having my best friend every day. That's just like the best
Yeah.
part about it. A lot of times having a boyfriend is like dramatic. Being like my friends that have boyfriends, it's always like drama. It's just about having like a real friendship with your partner and not just like, that's my boyfriend, so I have tons of expectations of them, you know what I mean? We're not perfect though. We have fights.
Yeah.
We have fights.
I have growing moments.
Yeah, totally. Oh, and I've been using eye makeup remover to cut my crease and then going in with whatever I want to pack on my lid instead of just putting whatever it is over the eyeshadow. It's just so much cleaner this way. Next question is this going to be your permanent home? Yes, it is. The plan is to buy a plot of land and park it on the land and then build a porch around it, then continue to build other cool little structures just like this on the land so that we eventually have like a tiny home compound or something. You know, a big school bus drag room and a big school bus spa.
Absolutely.
What are your deep motivations behind this project? What do you wish to experience? My biggest desire is to inspire people to think, create differently about life, because I have this platform that I haven't always known what to do with. At the end of the day, I just want to know that like all of this that I have created is like for a real purpose and not something that's silly, you know what I mean? I want to like make a real impact on the lives of the people who have invested in me. Every day I wake up and I'm like, am I worth this? Like, am I doing enough? This could have been given to somebody else, somebody better, somebody who would have done better things with it. And I want to know that I've actually done something good. I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Right.
Just learning about myself, what I'm capable of. Want to grow out of a lot of my habits. I'm just looking forward to newness and a challenge.
Freshness.
And inspiring y'all. Also just the fact that we own our home. Like, that is the most inspiring thing of all. You can own your home for like $4,900 and then do whatever you want to make it your space.
Right.
It's just crazy. Would you say this is an affordable project for somebody wanting to travel for less? You can do it in a hatchback. Like,
yeah.
You could make a little tiny studio space with a fold down kitchen in a hatchback if you really wanted to.
We've seen it.
Do it on your scale and it will work for you.
There are some things that we plan to do in the future as upgrades. Also,
Correct.
Start simple. Like, we want a really elegant skylight.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's a lot of things that we're gonna hold off for now because it's expensive and we're not rich. We're using credit for pretty much everything, and it's worth it to us because we're not going to be paying rent in a couple of months.
Once we take off in February, March, what we would have paid in rent for the rest of the year,
right,
already paid for this entire home.
How much did your life change during the pandemic? Well, we moved to the San Bernardino Mountains around this time last year so that we could isolate in quarantine. So truth be told, other than not being able to like travel and work,
my work definitely changed. Although our day-to-day lives, or my day-to-day life with you didn't really change, but I was seeing my clients on location in their home. So that I have not been doing since, which gave me the opportunity again to transition my work into something that is more accessible, really, and I'm able to interact with people on a broader scale.
This is gonna sound like some crazy conspiracy, but like the idea behind moving away from the city, being more isolated, and figuring out remote work are all small intentions behind like, what if something crazy happened to the world? We were both feeling that bug so hard, and so hard that it made us actually get up and move and do something about it. So we kind of set ourselves up for it in a weird, mystical way. Why don't you get plastic surgery to look like the big lip person you play? I'm thinking about it. I'm sick of not living my truth. Where do you live and what's your favorite and least favorite part about it? We live in a very Trumpy part of California, so that's probably my least favorite part about it.
The Trump headquarters down the street.
Oh my
The
god.
bicentennial.
Explain it.
It's like a little cottage house. I don't know what it was used for, but every day it is decked out and drenched with
It's like the Republican headquarters.
Yeah. Election day, the headquarters.
Oh, that's right.
The headquarters is closing up shop.
That's true.
Do you have any safety concerns traveling and living in the van?
Like I said earlier, Jeremy won't let me think about my safety concerns because he's like,
That's true.
positivity only. Don't even talk about those
No,
negative vibes. I do, but I don't at the same time. Like, he's really kind of talked me out of all of those kinds of thoughts, and we feel like we're blessed. So, you know, we feel like we'll be protected and guided in the right way. And if not, hell yeah, we'll be protected. We'll be fucking protected. Don't worry about that. How do you stay happy and grounded during hard times? Honestly, I don't. I'm a Virgo. I'm the best at hiding my emotions. I can be like having a mental panic, anxiety breakdown on the inside, but on the outside, I'm just like,
Cool
hey,
as a cucumber.
how are you? Yeah, I just distract myself until it subsides. I just distract myself with art, I distract myself with alcohol, I distract myself with you know.
Right. Well, that's your tactic.
Mm-hmm.
And it works because you are steady and grounded.
Really?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I just know that my problems are so minimal. On my worst day, on my worst days, it's incomparable to what people are going through.
Gratitude is definitely grounding. It is. It puts things into perspective and...
Reminding myself of my fucking privilege.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
I know. If you can fully immerse yourself in that, you heal. Right?
Where do you plan on going to the bathroom? Well, the first choice is out in nature. Number 2 is we'll be building a composting toilet.
Right.
We'll be doing a little like pop-up, like a freestanding wardrobe tent. Look them up. They're just like basically a tall single-person tent. And we'll put the composting toilet in the tent outside, and we'll basically have like a little outhouse. When did people start shitting in their houses? That was weird.
Yeah, the idea of having that separate from the house is delightful to me.
We won't ever probably actually shit in the bus. No shitting in the bus. How do you deal with anxiety and anxious thoughts?
Mindfulness in a variety of ways. Everything that I've learned in my career has come to this point of, you know, anxiety is on a critical scale.
Everything in your career has come to this point.
I really feel like it has. I've spent 20 years studying holistic arts and ancient healing technologies, and going back to mindfulness and being aware of yourself and your behavior and your habits, right?
Mm-hmm. People have unhealthy habits, they don't even realize it. Yeah, I'm talking mostly about myself. Like,
right.
My habits before I decided to take daily actions in order to be a good person.
Self-love is always an answer.
Oh,
we've
God.
gotta all be kinder to ourselves.
I'm curious about your water storage for drinking and bathing. Water storage will live under our bed, and
that's the water source. Yeah,
that's kind of hard to explain. It'll make sense later.
We're looking at a 60 to 80 gallon tank, and that'll be housed under our bed. And that'll be plenty of water.
We'll be able to go off grid for like 2 to 3 weeks at a time with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, and last question is our favorite food, movie, and place to visit. My favorite food is... I freaking love Indian food so much. And no matter what country you're in, it's always the same. And it's vegetarian mostly. I love spicy food more than anything. I love the most insane heat in my mouth. Jeremy can't handle it, but I can handle it. Favorite movie, I love Bridget Jones. I love Death Becomes Her. I love horror movies and thriller movies more than anything, and I can fall asleep to people screaming their heads off watching movies at night, and he hates it.
I think about what's like seeping into my subconscious mind as I'm falling into my dreams.
My favorite place to visit is probably Beirut. It's the most like magical and faraway place ever. I got to take Jeremy last year, and it was quite magical.
My favorite place, it's definitely a toss-up between Beirut and Buzios in Brazil. One of my dear friends and clients is in Buzios.
So he gets flown out and does the celebrity massage treatment.
I met her in Hawaii, and she just happens to live there, so it just works out. But
yeah,
we'll be going together.
Yeah, I wonder if I should throw on a wig. Okay, I will.
Do a wig.
Do a wig.
Do it.
Thanks for answering the last part of the questions with me.
Thank you. Thanks for the questions.
Yep. So you'll see him in next week's episode.
Okay, bye.
I just threw on my Drew Barrymore wig / Sarah Jessica Parker wig, and I'm feeling like, I don't know how I feel about anything anymore. So you guys tell me. Just a reminder, I am filming this on November 3rd, pre-election results. I'm terrified. I have no idea what to expect. This might be out of place to post this. I don't know where we'll be at on Saturday at noon when I'm posting, and it just is what it is. Let me know what you think of the look and how you feel about these natural brows. They're still kind of working on me, but here we are. Thanks for watching. You guys are the best, and we'll see you in the next video.